Thanks for coming to this skills development workshop today. My name is Matt Getz, and I am the educational technologist for the School of Public Affairs. And I started a few months ago, actually at the beginning of December. And for this workshop, I'm going to talk about creating a profile and networking on LinkedIn. Before I get to that, we're going to just do a quick exercise. I'm going to hand this out to you. This is going to be a little bit interactive. And for right now, if you could just take a minute, write 3 skills that you can think of that you have, that you can demonstrate and prove that you have on one side right now. Skills can be that you're a people person. It could be that you know how to speak in front of people. It could be that you know how to make origami, anything. You can catch a football and anything. But let's just try to think of it in a sort of a professional light. You got good customer service. Those are just ideas for you. Okay, everyone have 3 skills? At least 2 skills? 1 skill? What do you have? How many do you have?
I only have 1 right now.
Are you detail oriented?
Yeah.
Organized? Okay. Okay, we're going to take 10 more seconds. 10. Hurry, hurry, hurry. 9, 8, 7. Okay, you got it? Okay, we're going to turn this around on the other side, flip it, and just unfiltered, just put 3 jobs that you would like to have or 3 dream jobs. It could be anything. It could be a doctor, it could be actor, it could be singer, rock star, it could be an astronaut, whatever. That should take less time, but just don't limit yourself. And if you don't know, don't worry about that either. I didn't know when I was 19, 20, 18, 30, 35. Now. A lot of times when people think about that, they think about what's realistic. They're afraid to even write down what they want to do. So just write it down. You know you have stuff that you want to write down. I'm not going to ask you to share it either, by the way, so I'm not going to embarrass you. Okay, are you all done? Do you have at least 1?
No, I have all 3 for this.
Oh, you do? Okay, great. So let's just open this up. And let's just take a look at the column where it says 3 skills that you have. And then the 3 dream jobs or goals that you have. Here's the point of the exercise here. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to talk about some key points in terms of LinkedIn or even just building a resume is about consistency and progression in your life and your career. Let me see if this works. Okay, so your profile, so your skills, if you have a summary of yourself, you have put your skills down, if your experiences, your job experiences, your professional experiences, organizations that you're involved in, they should reflect some sort of progression, right? So it could be that you're a student and you're in student council, you're in student government, and you're the secretary, you're the vice president or something like that. And then that shows leadership. So you get into political science or you get into business or something like that. So all of those things are sort of indicators of kind of who you are, what your capabilities are, and what you're doing. And then for LinkedIn, it's a professional timeline. So here's the trajectory. So you start with your 3 skills, and then you have what you would like to do in the future. And by the way, what you would like to do in the future may change in a year or 2 or 3. Your skill sets are going to change and grow as you get new jobs, get more jobs, and as you learn more and things like that. So ideally, you want to be on the left side where there's consistency. See that arrow? Okay. On the right side, you're all over the place. You work at, a bank, and then you work at, a blood donation drive place or something like that. And then you go to a Walmart just because you're tired of everything. And then you go work over here. And so you ideally want to sort of stay consistent. But there are ways, if you get different jobs, to highlight your strengths that show a consistency and progression. So, by the way, just a little bit about me, and I'll just show you my LinkedIn profile. So, I have a background in entertainment marketing, and then I have a background in technology. I worked at an online advertising company. It was a big company, and then I made the move. That was 13 years, and then I made the move to higher education, to the university setting. Everything that I've actually done, I use. All the skills that I've acquired, that I've learned along the way, or even things that I've just taught myself. I've actually taught myself multimedia and stuff like that, just by myself, and learn how to design websites and all that kind of stuff, and graphic design 10 years ago. But anyway, all of those things that I've done, I actually use in my current job. Even though my title is educational technologist, I actually do a lot of design, and I do a lot of other things, that marketing and those sort of things, or at least I collaborate with my colleagues on some items that we work on. So LinkedIn, so here's the presentation overview and outline. So we're going to talk about what LinkedIn is and what you can do with it, the account types, and we're going to talk about creating a professional profile. So key terms or ideas, keywords, basics, experience, and more. And then networking. What is networking, and how do you do it? So LinkedIn is just a website, and it's for professionals, or soon-to-be professionals. And if you're a student, you can consider yourself a professional. You're not a professional student, but you can consider yourself professional, and it's all what you think of yourself anyway. What can you do with it? So you can connect with other LinkedIn members. Right now, there's, I think, over 300 million members on LinkedIn. That can include organizations as well as individuals. And you can connect with other LinkedIn members, professionals. Target your connections by industry. So if you want to get into the medical field, then you want to look and see who is in the medical field, and maybe send them a little note or something like that. Promote yourself and share your ideas, just like Facebook. You post things about yourself. You can upload videos, and then you can see who's been viewing you. So I just put a little screenshot of who viewed me on a certain day, and so that's who's viewed me. And then you can see what I really use LinkedIn for is just to keep in touch with people and to see where they're progressing in their careers and in their lives. So if they're oh, I'm working at Microsoft now. Well, I know that they've actually, and the people that I'm connected with, I used to work at Fox Interactive Media. There were a lot of engineers and product and project managers and executives. If they say they're working at Microsoft, they've moved to Washington, and so I know where they're, and I can keep track that way. So it's kind of like an old-fashioned term, but a Rolodex business, online Rolodex. So here are your account types, your basic ones, and then your premium account. So your basic one is all you need. If you're a company and organization and you want to start recruiting and look, data mining for talent and LinkedIn, then you'll get yourself a premium paid account. So I just have a basic account. I have a profile, network with people. I have a network. People recommend me, introductions, and you can do introductions and search for other people and their profiles. And then you have your premium account where you can do stuff like, seek jobs or recruit people. And those are your premium features. So I'm just going to go to LinkedIn right now and just show you quickly. Just sort of the overview. So here's my profile. Currently I'm the educational technologist at the University of Colorado Springs. Here's my summary. Experience. Let's see. I didn't put a lot in there. I don't need to blow it up any. I have my own travel website. I worked at Notre Dame for 4 years. And as you can see, I put just highlights really in different areas that I've worked in. So technology program, I worked at Fox, and then and the entertainment company that I was telling you about. And then if we go down here, the more interesting things kind of are skills. And I'll go over these: education, organizations, any highlights, and people I'm following. So that's my profile. I'm not an empire builder, so I don't have more than 268. But so that's. I should also just ask: does anyone here have a LinkedIn profile? Okay. So we're just going to go over some just key points that may enhance your LinkedIn profile. Okay. Creating a profile. First things first. Who here has a Gmail account? You have, okay. You need to get yourself a Gmail account. That's your professional. That's what you're going to use for your resume. Your professional email account is a Gmail account. Next is selecting a photo. You need to have a photo, and it needs to be professional. So we're going to take a vote on what we think is the most professional photo here. Okay, there's only, by the way, one, and is photo number one professional? Why?
It's not a flattering image.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. It could be. She could think so. I could think so. But really, you know what it is? It's a selfie, and she's winking. And so it's not very professional. Number two, is that professional? Is it professional to have your elixir and... Number four, is that professional? Okay, number three, that's professional. It's good lighting, it's a good quality photo actually. It's a professionally shot photo or professionally photoshopped photo, but it's a good photo. She's dressed appropriately in the photo. The background is blurred, and it's nice. You can see who she is, and you can actually see a personality in that photo as well. Okay, that's actually important to have a good professional photo in there. Okay, a headline. It's a concise and catchy summary or descriptive phrase about you. So you have your name, and then you have who you are, what you do, 20 years of such and such experience or whatever, something like that. But most people, including me, we just have our current status as our headline. And you could put student at the University of Colorado, and then remember to use concise keywords, and I'll describe what keywords are. Then, so you could say I'm a forensic scientist or something like that. Okay, so there's my educational technologist. Keywords. Anyone have any idea? Has anyone ever heard of keywords? Okay, so yeah, what are keywords for LinkedIn and for search engines? For when people are, when the LinkedIn search engine and when other search engines are going through your profile, they get important words that they index, and then if you want to search for someone, say under using certain keywords, then a host of people will come up that match and that have those keywords in their own profile. So they're the relevant, the most impactful words for the industry that you're seeking, and you would use concrete terms for your skills or your experience that you have. So example is just generically, as a security consultant, in your experience, you would put something like design security protocols for 150 person, something like that. It should reflect, again, progression. And so if you are looking to be a manager or a director or something like that, so your previous job, you could say, oh, I supervised 15 people. The next position, you could say, I had oversight of or directed human resources department or something like that. And again, the keywords are supervised, oversight of, or direct. Just another example. So if you're like, again, another generic term, but city program analyst. So here's a weak example keyword. Did research for director of strongest research alternative dispute resolution programs and reported indicators, trends, and benchmarks too. Things like that. So to be more specific and descriptive of what you do, I just put like overused buzzwords, just kind of using overkill, kind of cliche terms, but you can still use them. You have to back them up, and what your experience and what your skills are will back up what you say about yourself. So, in terms of creating a profile, you have summarizing your experience and skills. So you have your name, then you have your headline about yourself, like a news headline. Hey, the most catchy thing that you can think of. And then you have a summary. So what do you say about yourself, really, if you've never really thought about yourself and thought about writing about yourself? So what do you say? It's just a snapshot of who you are, your overall experience, using key words, so strong words. To the right that's the CEO of LinkedIn, Jeff Weiner, I believe, or Weiner or Weiner. You see the formatting there? Just uses a sentence or two as paragraphs and breaks them up. Internet executive with over 19 years of experience. That's really kind of his top level thing that he's done. Currently CEO at LinkedIn and then his previous jobs. Does anyone have any questions about keywords or how to summarize yourself or anything? Okay. All right. Style of summarizing. Again, be concise, as you saw in the previous example. Use keywords to describe your experience, skills, and other information. Short, not bulky paragraphs about yourself. I fall asleep if I see a paragraph this long. And in which person should you write about yourself? So some people say I, or some people say, if I were to write about myself, I could say, Matt Getz was blah, blah, blah. My preference, and then there's the third one, which is, as you saw before, internet, just an assumed person, because you're writing about yourself. I prefer just doing the third option, which is assumed, military or whatever, or you can use first person. It just personalizes what you say. I feel like when you use a third person, that's really just for actors and sports stars when they talk about themselves, when they're being interviewed, they say, they're talking about themselves, but in the third person. So, summarizing your experience, I myself, a lot of other people do this, and most people I know do this. Just put specialties directly under your summary. So again, just concise keywords. It's optional, but a good idea. And those are mine. Technical design, etc. And then I won't go over this too much because Pam went over this. And so just your body of work, your highlights and strengths, show progression. For me, it's important just have a little integrity. It's kind of like plagiarism. Don't falsify, exaggerate, those kind of things. Be able to back up and prove what you say you can do or where you were. So there's that balance of selling yourself, but selling yourself with sort of strong descriptive terms, and then going into the job and not being able to perform or something. Okay, skills are important, so if you have a certain language, if you're bilingual, trilingual, if you know certain things, like you have a niche kind of skill, endorsements, people endorse so people who have worked with you will endorse what you've done. These are my endorsements, and this is on LinkedIn. You can see who's endorsed me. Most of it has been people I've worked with at the technology company. So those are important, and it's good to have proof. That's proof of concept, and just proof, social proof, actually they call it. Any questions? And I know you guys are students in the back, and you guys are kind of young, so I have a message for you at the end. So just hang in there. Importance of organizations. I like organizations. It's good to volunteer. And it really just shows, initiative, leadership, and just involvement in caring in your own community or whatever you're doing. So it could be a Toastmasters, you're, increasing your skills in a certain way. But it's also a really good networking opportunity when you're involved in organizations, so you can use them as potential references. So if they're in your LinkedIn network and you say you have a skill, people in that organization can confirm it and they'll endorse you. So that's part of it is shows initiative and just involvement. The other is just potential networking opportunity. And don't worry about that, selling yourself and going out there and doing that. I used to not like sort of salespeople, but it's a really practical skill to have. It's just to be able to network and keep in contact with people. Okay, highlights and achievements. There's mine to the right, but it helps you stand out. And then certifications just shows commitment to what you're doing, extra investment, and increasing that particular skill in whatever area that you're getting certifications in. Questions? Okay. Volunteering and interest, we kind of went over organizations. Proof of initiative, civic mindedness, leadership. So if you go and teach ESL, or if you're going and working at a homeless shelter or something like that, again, you're giving back, but you're also building a network, and you can potentially, interest. So it just shows kind of more well-rounded person. This is a professional one, for professional profile, but it also shows like some more of the human dimension, like volunteering. And I used to work at the previous university that I worked at. students were so achievement oriented that their resumes were longer than my resume. But because they had 30 organizations that they belonged to and volunteer organizations and things like that. And it's not a knock, it's impressive what people can do at such a young age. So we're going to go finally to, we were just created a profile. We're going to go to networking. What exactly is networking? So networking is making connections, making and keeping connections. And that's what LinkedIn is all about, is connections. That's what any social media is about, is just connections. So it's putting yourself out there, selling yourself, marketing yourself in a certain light. You're not selling your dignity or anything like that. You're just putting yourself out there. You need to be practical and just put yourself out into the world. Branding yourself, making those connections. So who do you network with? Your employers, current and past. I bet guaranteed they're on that LinkedIn. Co-workers, colleagues, organizations, alumni. That's why it's so important to have, organizations or volunteer places that you have and making, connections, is because if you want to use LinkedIn and you want to grow your network, those are the people that you're going to target. So I'm a student, how do I network? I'm an undergrad student, how do I network? And who do I network with? So you start with the people that you know. Classmates. Create a profile and send them an email saying, hey, I want to connect with you, but they don't have one. But then they'll think, I need to create a LinkedIn profile. So that's how you start that. That's how I started it. People started with me. When I didn't have a LinkedIn profile, this is years ago, but people sent me those invitations and I thought, create one. So that's a good way.
School of Public Affairs has a LinkedIn account, correct? So that might be a good place to start also.
Yeah, exactly. So your connections are ready. So your classmates, your school, your friends, your alumni, and it's organizations. And then as you grow and as you develop in your career, you can target those networking connections again, depending on what you're doing. So target industry, folks who have similar positions or responsibilities, or just similar, just that industry. Send an invite. People you don't know, write a personal note. Say, hey, I've met you. You can, people you meet at conferences, people you meet at gatherings like this. Hey, I met you here. Expanding. So if you look at to the right, it's people who are similar to me, and that'll be on your right-hand side of the LinkedIn screen. It's usually right on. So you target people who are similar to you, and then see what they're doing and extend that invite. Don't be afraid to extend that invite. Okay, so I'm going to sum up. Creating a profile, get yourself a Gmail account. Your first name, period, last name, first name, underscore, last name, something like that. And then, because when people get an email, they'll see, if it's just one long word, it's hard to know what that is saying, so that's why you want to break up your first and last name with one of those. So creating a profile. So Gmail account, select a professional photo. You want to write that headline, which is probably what you currently are, and then that summary. And then the key concepts are, throughout your career, are going to be consistency, progression, and connection. Networking, target industry, connect with people that you already, start with the people that you know, and then expand from there. And grow that base and search for professionals in related fields. And last note for the undergrads is, all of this takes time. So building a resume, building a LinkedIn profile, it takes time. You go from one job to another, you gain skills from one job to another. You may want to learn things on your own, things like that. So creating a profile, building a network, and takes time. So today, if you don't, create a LinkedIn, if you don't have one, create a LinkedIn account. And put those 3 skills that we did in the very first activity, the introduction activity, put those in your LinkedIn account. That's the purpose of the initial activity, is just for you to start taking stock of your own self, really, and realizing what you can do, what you have done, and then those are the things that you can start adding to your LinkedIn account.